Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan. Miyazaki man Sai here, new studio. Today we're going to go through Arne Slot's probable first lineup in the Liverpool Red. I don't know when it's home or away yet, the fixture list is not out, but based on the squad that we currently have in the Liverpool team, we can probably make an accurate prediction of which players would suit the first lineup. Slightly safe, a bit adventurous, a little bit spicy. It will also influence the transfers that we go for. Here we go. So we know Arne Slot favours a 4-2-3-1 formation, but the starting formation, the starting blocks for the players are only in terms of where they positionally start from the start of the game. Obviously, you track your players, you transition, you go into different offensive and defensive transitions, and you end up in different places. Also, you rotate roles, and hopefully we'll see more rotation amongst the front three, if not the front four, and we'll see what happens when the fullbacks invert as well, and the midfielders, where they drive forwards or where they sit back. Here we go. First names we can pen in instantly, so all being well, everyone being fit, everyone getting through pre-season unscathed, and before transfers come in, Alisson goes in, Van Dijk is the captain. You'd expect this much to say the least, right? Big calls to make. Right back, Connor Bradley, Trent Alexander-Arnold offer very different characteristics, and we know all about them, but it ultimately depends on the opposition that we're against, whether they're home, whether they're away. Arne Slot wants to start quick, whether he wants to keep it tight at the back, whether he wants someone bombing forward, whether he wants to overload the right hand side, whether he wants to overload the centre. We'll see what happens. But all being well, I think you started Trent at right back, and there's many reasons why Trent is the right back and not defensive midfielder or right winger, right mid, or even number 10. Ultimately, the further you put him up in the pitch, the easier it is to mark him out of the game. Now, there will be situations where obviously you could potentially involve Trent and Connor Bradley, but the difficulty is Trent will keep falling back to find pockets of space to drag the opposition away from their zonal marking and hopefully off his back as well, which will give Connor Bradley the chance to overlap and invert and go ahead of him. But why would you want Trent further away from goal? By starting at right back, you allow him to go further up into the spaces, right? Into the right half space where he's deadly whipping those balls in and behind, switching play over here, or even transitioning into the right-sided Mazzala start, where he can take a pot shot, where he can slide a through ball through, where he can cross, a short cross, dink cross. So from deep position, Trent can really dictate the game and navigate the areas of threat for those game-winning scenarios I keep talking about. Trent Alexander-Arnold probably starts. Now, a few more names that will probably start. Alexis Mac Allister. Now, he has probably been our player of the season because he is absolutely majestic. Sexy Alexis Mac Allister, majestic, ginger ninja in the right lights. He will probably play that transitional midfield role. Now, is it the deep lying midfielder or does he slot in the 10? Now, this is something of a discussion point. So the 10 needs to be creative, needs to score goals, needs to slip the striker through, be able to play the ball out wide, receive the ball on turn, find those pockets of space, which to me screams Alexis Mac Allister. In fact, he wears number 10 on the shirt. So a Liverpool number 10, a Liverpool starting player, Alexis Mac Allister really suits this 10. However, he could also probe from deep position if you have a kind of inverted midfield somewhat like this, which allows Trent this side and covering on that space. That, to me, screams Wataru Endo. Now, people say we need a starting six. They said that last season, even when Endo signed, right, with Lavia and Caicedo and all that kerfuffle. Wataru Endo is experienced, he's cool, he's calculated, he can break the lines with that ball into the 10 position, which will allow the right wing up and Trent to play up as well. Endo tackles, he shields in front of the defence, he can go between the defence, allowing the defenders to push up as well. Van Dijk into that pocket, pseudo defender into that pocket. We'll see what happens, we'll see who gets picked. So, Wataru Endo makes a lot of sense because it gives freedom to these two players to get into your classic 4-3-3 formation, because Van Dijk, defender, a left back, and Trent are positioned to stop the breakaway, and anything that bops in and around the area, you play it across, boom, there you go again. Down the wing, there you go again. Over the top, there you go again. Trent can really dictate the play, albeit we know the negatives of this particular formation allows the opposition to ping the ball in behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is why we've always played Ibu Konate. Now, if Konate can come back to form, he's that physical monster, that physical beast, and it gives that reassurance because he's got the recovery pace, he's got the physicality, and he's a good marginal line defender as well. He can defend the flanks in lieu of Trent roaming and being given a free role, okay? So, with that in mind, who starts at left back? Now, left back is a very interesting choice because England also could benefit from this left back choice. If you have an Andy Robertson, then you have your flying fullbacks a la Robertson and Trent of the prime 4-3-3 with Sadio Mane, Firmino and Mo Salah, right? If you put Joe Gomez there, Joe Gomez can invert in, which gives you that box and a back for that security, and then you have a left winger who really covers the lines, and the left side midfielder giving the width as well, because Gomez can sit there with Endo, and then you've got that kind of line, which means that the opposition will find it very hard to break through, because as dirty teams do, you have your solid bank of 4 in front, and Van Dijk and Konate are such physical specimens with pace and with positional sense that they can cover. It'll be very hard to break because they push such a high line that the space in and behind, you're really going to have to time your run well to beat or outflank or outpace Konate and Van Dijk. So they really pen the opposition in. Arne Slot will probably look to do this because Arne Slot really looks to play an opposition half even more so than Klopp and win the ball high up. So I think, all being well, Jerome Quansah is the wonder kid, is a marvel, but security dictates that this is probably the starting lineup. I do think Alexis Mac Allister starts alongside Wataru Endo because the big E can clean up, and he provides that reassurance, that safety blanket that allows Mac Allister to really push up and dominate his fields of play. If he starts on the left, this will be his zone of command around here. I think Endo starts on the right hand side because Endo can cover for Trent alongside Konate. However, if you're confident with Konate covering the right flank, in that case, Endo can cover the left flank and allows the left back to bomb forward. In that situation, Mac Allister, which appeared to be more comfortable in the right sided midfield slot, because that's when he really got those crucial goals and goal metrics and assists and slide ball rule through the opposition lines as well, through their pressing lines. I think you end up in this kind of inverted formation here, because what happens there is Konate partners with Trent to cover if he roams forward. You've got that duo there that shifts this half space here. You have Endo covering with the left back that allows the left back to bomb forward as well, which is a Robertson style left back. That's not a Gomez, because a Gomez would drift in. Van Dijk presses, but Van Dijk also shields and covers as the quarterback, because when you play your ball back to Van Dijk, he has the ability to hit the right winger out there as well. So with an Arne Slot system, the difference between Arne Slot and Klopp is Arne Slot will look to get the ball transition from back to front as soon as possible. Klopp like to ping it in between the defenders, into the number 6, back to the defender, and that's a trigger point for Salah to run, for Lucho Diaz to run, for Nunes to run. When the trigger point is hit and the ball comes back, you hit straight away. Arne Slot likes to build up the play with tactical, methodical build-up of player positions to allow the passes through the lines. So in that case, you have quarterback Van Dijk covering Konate, Trent and Mac Allister roaming into this square here. Now this is going to be the most interesting one for number 10. Before I do that, I'm going to slot Robertson in here for now. As part of the leadership team, absolutely solid defensively, reliable, can carry out Arne Slot's instructions as well. Probably not too adventurous in the Arne Slot system. Now this is the caveat. Robertson was given free rein to bomb up and down, pop up and down. Lucho Diaz cutting inside, Robertson out here. I think it's a different formation with Arne Slot. Arne Slot looks to get the defenders on to the halfway line and hold position. Trent can play the ball. Robertson, defensively solid, can give it to someone more creative than Robertson. And the left winger and right winger will be tasked with standing the man up 1v1 against a fullback. Real winger play, and that's what I'm really excited about. None of this safe, wait with opportunity and play the ball through the lines. Real winger play, exciting winger play. Take him on, continuously take him on. If you can't beat him, someone else can take him on. We'll sub you. Which is why Arne Slot's a winger formation, winger roulette and rotation is fantastic to see. In that regard, if you want someone to take him on, I think Luis Diaz stays, and Lucho stays, not just because he's absolute marvel, because he's a great player, but he needs to up his assist and goal scoring, and especially finishes on target as well. He's been very unlucky. He can't be that unlucky 2 seasons in a row. But I don't think any team will pay the money that we would demand for a 27, 28-year-old winger in their prime, experienced, used to the Liverpool City, shown a lot of love, obviously, that kerfuffle with his dad, and his dad flirting with Barcelona, and his dad being kidnapped, and all the tragedies, which slightly derailed his form and attention as well. But if you're looking for a winger to take the man on, it's Lucho Diaz. Unfortunately, he keeps cutting inside because that's his only real goal-scoring metric, because around the outside, I haven't really seen him be very effective around the outside. He always hits the first man or goes out for a corner, but he's a menace, he's a hassle. So Robertson around the outside to Lucho Diaz, standing man up, which means that Mac Allister, number 10, striker, might work with Lucho Diaz, or number 10 might work with Lucho Diaz, a striker back post, and a right winger in around back post as well. Cutting inside, it's got to be that ball to the winger to finish, right? Salah running in with a header, or someone who is a good winger, who's good in the air as well. That's what we missed, because Sadio Mane was a monster in the air, and he could shoot left foot and right foot, and that's something we really miss. So we'll come on to transfers in a bit, and I will do a formation with potential transfers and outgoings as well. But Mac Allister will be given rein to stitch up the play and then hit the wingers. Or the striker will drop deep, you hit the striker, who out wide to the winger, stand a man up 1v1, back post, either drop deep or P spot, number 10 backing up as well. We have many variations of play because the squad that Arne Slot inherits from Jurgen Klopp, his final leaving present, is absolutely stacked with talent for different playing styles, right? You saw that we started in a 4-2-3-1 formation, which on the transition has a solid 2 in front of the defence to blockade that square, right? Van Dijk, Konate, Endo, McAllister. I do believe McAllister starts slightly deeper because he can weave the play together and break the lines with a pass. But the big question is the number 10, Fabio Carvalho, Szoboszlai, Harvey Elliott, Alexis McAllister. That is who I'm looking at number 10, unless he springs a massive surprise and starts Diogo Jota in that position. But I don't think he will start Diogo Jota in that position. Diogo Jota deserves to start because he's an ultimate finisher, and it is a world where Diogo Jota starts on the left instead of Lucho Diaz, because then he can go inside and outside with a silkworm dribble in out of the defence, right? Which we're looking at Nunes to go down the wing, silkworm dribble and find his way into the box. There is a world where Diogo Jota starts, but on this occasion, when you're standing a man up 1v1 as a winger with what we know is a Lucho Diaz. Now, I did mention standing a man up as a winger. It's not really Mo Salah's forte. Does Mo Salah start in the 10 position? Because Salah should always start when he's on form, but he's not on form at the moment and he's aging, and there's that contract kerfuffle as well. And with Trent Alexander-Arnold, round the ball, round the outside to Salah, he doesn't stand a man up. Do you trust Salah to go for it? I think you've got to give Salah a chance for redemption to show his wing play, to show his dribble, jinky nature. We put Aymeric Laporte onto his arse against Man City and we dominated them and he scores in the biggest matches. I think he starts Salah at the start of the season because you need that harmony, you need that leadership, you need that leading by example. With this in mind, you have Diaz cutting in, Salah cutting in, but I think Arne Slot will really tell Salah and Lucho Diaz, I want to see on occasion you get to the byline, or if you cut inside to the half spaces, in the half spaces here, you must release the player around the outside, which is Trent. Now Trent in this position, I think, is one of the crucial game-winning scenarios that we did not see enough from Klopp's Liverpool in the final few seasons, because he played him as a quarterback. He played him inverted there. Played him at the bottom of the square, the cube, midfield. We've got to see Trent in that position, because from that position, I don't think there's many other players in world football who will pick a man out and will get a goal at the end of it, right? So Salah, if Salah is to play right wing, he must take the man out on the outside, or he must release Trent, or potentially a Szoboszlai or McAllister in around the outside, because Szoboszlai, McAllister and Trent on that position, I would back them to find someone, same as Jota. That's the beautiful thing, that if these players get into that position, I think we'll pick a man out and we'll score a goal. We don't score enough of these goals because P spot, dink to the back post, Sadio Mane, towering header, pulled back to the Salah to bend it in, pulled back to the number 10 to smack the ball. Okay, I think that is one of the big game-winning scenarios and big things we have to see, similar to Lucho Diaz. Either you get to the byline or you cut inside and Robertson gets there. But as I mentioned, I think on the left-hand side particularly, Lucho Diaz will be dribble, jinky, take the man out, and it'll probably be the number 10 inverting in and around, because McAllister probably suits that right-sided slot at the moment, because he's just really having an influence in that position and always finding the correct ball over the top to Nunes, through to Gakpo, playing Salah in, playing a 1-2 with Salah, finding his opportunity to shoot as well. He's sneaky and he's subtle and I love it. So back into this position, number 10. The choice of number 10, I think, goes down to the opposition and a show of faith. Does Arne Slot go to Harvey Elliott and say, you are my wunderkind, you are my wonder kid, you are the gem of all gems, you are the diamond in the rough, but you're not rough, you've got a curly poodle hair and I love it. Harvey Elliott, start number 10, weave your magic, shoot and score. But Harvey Elliott would go on this side, because obviously he's left-footed and like Salah cuts inside, but the problem is, going around the outside, weaker right foot, going around the outside, weaker right foot. Does he start as a roaming number 10? Or is it Szoboszlai with a long-range shooting? Not a number 10, not the playmaker, but an attacking midfielder who, if you've got Gakpo leading the lines, it'll be Szoboszlai trying to run in like Lampard, slotting it in, running in with a header, running and sliding at the back post, sliding at the back post. I don't see Szoboszlai playing those silky through balls a la McAllister, but when you have Wataru Endo behind you, they can both influence the play from this position, and that is a deadly prospect. Another game-winning scenario is getting McAllister and Szoboszlai into that position. You have your kind of Christmas tree formation, your classic Milan formation, and let them do the dirty work and work the magic in these pockets here. You get McAllister and Szoboszlai or Harvey Elliott into these pockets, and it's a recipe for good stuff to happen. Tommy Schlobbers really deserves a crack at it, but so does Harvey Elliott. And what about Fabio Carvalho? If he impresses in pre-season, he deserves a crack at it as well. I think against the weaker opposition, against the Fulham, against the Wolves, and that kind of team, you go Harvey Elliott. Against a bigger team where you need the engine, you need the energy, you need the relentless pressing and the long-range shooting threat, you go Szoboszlai. So, who do I think we're going to get in the first match? Chelsea. It's always Chelsea, isn't it? We usually get kind of Chelsea. It might be Arsenal. I reckon we'll get a Chelsea, Arsenal, or promoted team. In which case, the balance of probabilities is that Szoboszlai starts just because he's older than Harvey Elliott. Szoboszlai starts in that formation. Salah starts in that formation, and I really think we see this kind of line in the first moments of the Arne Slot era. It'll be that solid 4 with the ability for Trent to go up. Look at this, Football Manager, Championship Manager style arrows. Endo forming that 3. Konate running and breaking through the lines if necessary. Van Dijk will be patrolling in and around the back. His long balls are a weapon. Arne Slot does not play so many long balls, but he gets back to front very quickly with short passes. But I think he's going to have a variety of play styles with this Liverpool team. A manager is not so naive to be penned to one formation and one style. You adapt for the opposition, you find the weaknesses in their particular lineup and their particular layout, their particular players to target as well, and you go from there. With that in mind, who is the starter up front? If it's against a minnow like Fulham, I don't want to say minnow or Wolves in that kind of thing, but a lesser team, not your Manchester Cities, for example, you got to go with your Darwin Núñez, your confidence. But the problem with this lineup is Harvey Elliott deserves a start. Cody Gakpo deserves to start. Cody Gakpo will start matches where you need the goal-scoring finishers in the team. In which case he starts instead of Lucio Diaz. Another world is Szoboszlai starts in this formation. Harvey Elliott starts here, which means that McAllister and Elliott swap around. But I think we're very, very likely to see this line 4-1-4-1. Instead of a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 formation. It's very, very similar because obviously with these pushing up, that becomes a 4-3-3. But look where they start and where they stand. I think you bypass this area because he can drop into the pocket and then you've got an overload on the right-hand side. You can do the other way. You can drop into the pocket and you got overload on the left-hand side. You can drop and allow Trent to overrun as well. Without Endo stepping up, you compress the play. Arne Slot's real methodology is compressing the play, playing the opposition half, winning the ball as quick as possible and getting from back to front as quick as possible without a trigger point, without a pivot from the bottom, right? And when we're in defensive transition, drop, solid, 2, 2, 1 in front of him, triangle, deep, what does that become? 4-5-1. 4-5-1 formation, not 4-2-3-1, because obviously you've now penned in the midfield. If you really want to be dirty, there's your little trap, your triangle traps there. 1 and 2 triangle traps, okay? And your breakaway with Núñez, and then you've got your support. But actually the threat will be that back post, everyone running in. Hopefully not these 3. Maybe Gakpo's okay, but Endo's okay as well. But yeah, these 3 aren't the best shooters when Núñez will just crack it over the bar anyway. You just yeah, what am I saying? No, pass back to Szoboszlai. Oh, it's a goal! Yeah. I hope you enjoy the tactical insight. I think this will be the starting lineup. I've actually gone through a few variations here, so there's not a big indication as to starting lineup. I digress a little bit, but who will I go with starting lineup? I think you go back into the players. You bring your Salka, your Moko Salka, Salad. I think I would like Gakpo to start. He deserves to start. He's been on fire last few seasons, but Lucio Diaz, your wing play, your playmaking wide player in Salah, your Robertson, your Endo, McAllister, kind of inverting like that. It's not a real, what is that shape? What is that shape? The only thing it's missing is a kind of dong thing here. Okay, I digress. But let's talk about transfers, new signings. If there is a transfer signing that's going to start, it's going to be for Szoboszlai, unfortunately, I believe, because what will then happen is McAllister plays 10 because he deserves a shot in that creative spot, and I think that 6, pseudo 6 player like a Weaver starts in this formation. So just as a name, not because we're going to sign this player, but a defensive destroyer who's Premier League proven, who can break the lines with a pass, who's got techers as well, who's confident, who's decent in the air. João Paulinho, Bruno Guimaraes. But for my pick, if you can, Douglas Luiz, Aston Villa, got a bit of everything, got a flair, got a winning mentality. Emery shaped him well. I like it. I like it a lot. The only other potential starter, I think you need a forward, but in terms of strikers, Nunes and Gakpo is probably sufficient with Jadon Dan's in the backup, with Salah being able to go there as well. These front three will rotate. The only other potential starter I see is instead of Luis Diaz, but in that case, it'll be Cody Gakpo, because if Gakpo starts here, then the only other starter from a defensive point of view is instead of Konate. And I don't think you're going to find anyone on the market better than Konate. Really, even if you go through your wonder kids, right? Even if you go through your wonder kids, I don't think you're going to find someone internationally proven against the biggest opposition, against your Haaland, against everyone, as big man mountain. What Taro Endo, the biggie? No, I mean, even Konate, that massive weeb. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Make sure to smash the like button. It really helps the video get seen. Beat the YouTube algorithm. Miyazaki Man, Ichiban, always a channel with substance in abundance. I hope you enjoyed that little preview of Arne Slot's first formation, first lineup. I think he'll go with something like that. I don't believe a signing will start in the back lines. He'll definitely not start ahead of Alisson. I don't think a signing will start ahead of Wataru Endo, because you need a mixture of experience. He's that cool head to get a defensive shield. Endo won't complain if he's on the bench, but will come on and make an impact. Last minute curler against Fulham, for example. Only potential starter, deep lying 6 next to Wataru Endo. We have the budget, we have the finance, we have the wages in lieu of Thiago Alcantara leaving. We need someone to break the lines with progressive pass there as well. McAllister deserves a shot in the number 10 position, because actually you talk about Szoboszlai, Elliott and McAllister in and behind the striker. I think McAllister is the one that's going to get the most assists, if not the most goals as well. But Szoboszlai really needs a breakout season, because he started absolutely on fire. Tommy Schrobbers and Harvey Elliott. WizKid as well. There's a world where Harvey Elliott starts here, which is a show of faith. Salah, you're now the backup to Harvey Elliott. Yes, bruv. And Cody Gakpo deserves to start. But if you do start Cody Gakpo, I want someone who can head from the right-hand side, because... Oh, actually, saying that, what about this? There we go. Wasn't in the plans. But if you want someone that can head from the right-hand side, in which case, Szoboszlai goes here. And McAllister goes here, because Gakpo cutting inside, or Robertson around the outside, it's going to be that whip to Jota, or that whip to Jota, because Jota is a monster in the air. He's the most Sadio Mane-like player that we have. Left foot, right foot, power finisher, dribble, absolute menace, energy, finishing, great in the air, except for the fact that he's injured a lot more than Sadio Mane, and that Mane is more powerful. But Jota is a quality finisher, better finisher than Mane, because percentage-wise he hit more, but Mane can really get a lot of goals as well. Gets crucial goals, Sadio Mane, the first goal or the last goal or the winning goal. Nunes, I think, will lead the line, because we need a show of faith. And Arne Slot, as I mentioned in the previous video I shot, it's not released yet because I'm waiting for some confirmation for it to come ahead. Arne Slot was an attacking midfielder, in and behind Darwin Nunes. Arne Slot was not the quickest player, but he's a technical player with good first touch. He knows the kind of balls that Nunes needs to thrive on. The short balls slipped in, so he's not offside. Quick short balls and not long range, long line breaking balls, because then he's caught offside, because our players can't hit that ball quick enough, except Thiago, who was always injured anyway. So, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Smash that like button. Thank you. Domo arigato minasan. Peace. Janet.